Hello, I'm Jim Smith, and today I'm going to find out how to become a Lantra instructor and see a few courses in action. And first up, I'm going to meet Andy, who's going to teach me how to drive a quad bike safely. Alright Andy, you ready to fire this thing up?
Right, Jim. Your helmet's on back to front.
Hey?
Your helmet's on back to front.
I know, I've got a helmet.
Turn it round.
Turn it round. Ah, right, okay. Okay, fair enough. Okay, where's the keys?
Aye, we're a bit from that yet.
Okay. So Andy, I saw you this morning instructing the young ones there. Tell me, how did you get into this line of work?
Basically, I was working on farms and there was an advert in the local press and journal up in Aberdeen looking for a forklift instructor, and I was actually self-employed at the time as well, and it was just one of these things. I went and applied, and the next I knew I was doing my training. It took maybe about a year, but that was me out there running courses.
I suppose the stereotypical image of an instructor is a semi-retired farmer, but that's not the case at all, is it?
You know, historically it was always experienced farmers or farm workers that got involved in the training side of things. But really, I mean, when I became an instructor, I was only in my early 20s, and probably the biggest challenge I had was arriving on farm and being faced with a couple maybe stubborn farmers wondering what this young lad was going to tell them. But once you win them over and you see that you actually do know what you're talking about and you're actually there to help them, you're not there to, a lot of them think it's a test, but you're there to train them, help them and give them some advice as well, and also pull information from them. So it's open to all industries really, and whether you're male, female, or whatever. Yeah, there's always something that you've got to bring to it as well. So yeah.
During the current COVID crisis, a lot of folk have maybe reevaluated their lives and thought about different career changes. Have you actually seen an increase in demand for training?
Yeah, I mean, obviously earlier on everything went quiet, but we are starting to pick up again now. And I actually had a phone call from a chap the other day in the oil industry. He was already self-employed and had found himself sitting about for a few weeks, and he was asking the question as to he'd come from a similar kind of background to myself originally, and he was looking at possibly going back to the land-based kind of sector, and he was asking questions as to how he maybe came about doing the various different training courses. So I had to point him in the direction of the local providers and that there. So I think talking to the providers, there is an increase in training and that now. There's a lot more online courses and that being delivered as well. So there's a huge scope there for remote learning and whatnot as well. So that's a whole different ball game.
You must get great satisfaction from doing this job. So what are the benefits of it?
Last week I was out on an RSPB nature reserve, and it's lovely to see these places and how they're approaching things, and quite often we're out there working in some of the bonniest parts of Scotland. Really, it can be a great office window, as they say.
Absolutely,
yeah.
Absolutely. You travel all around Scotland or beyond?
Yeah, we travel around quite a bit. And as I say, we just go wherever the customer needs us. So that's the benefit. The client likes the training done on site. So I mean, there are providers out there that have their own premises, and you have to, the trainees would have to come to their premises and do the course. But that doesn't suit everybody either. A lot of the trainees prefer to be trained on their own equipment, like what we did today, where they're on their own machines, they get to know their own machines and in their own surroundings as well. So they prefer us to come to them.
Well, Ben, you've been on the training course this morning, learning how to drive the forklift. But as a form of diversification, would you consider becoming an instructor?
I think so, definitely. Looking to the future on a part-time basis, certainly, it's always another income stream you could bring in to the business. And on top of that, you've also got the chance to meet people out with and polish up on your communication skills.
Gillian, I know you, of course, are young farmers, an enthusiastic young farmer and a great asset to industry. Do you think in years to come, now you've been in a course this morning, you would consider using those skills to become an instructor yourself?
Yeah, I think I would. The fact that you can do it part-time obviously fits in quite well. Definitely be something to consider in the future, and it'd be good to see some female instructors as well.
So now I'm here to meet Matt Cooper, who is a chainsaw instructor, hence the gear. And Matt's going to run a course. We've got 4 of us on the course today, myself included. And so Matt, what are you going to be talking us through today?
So initially we're going to be talking through some windblow. So basically we've got a beech tree over here, and we're just going to be looking at how to deal with a partially blown windblown tree, how you get that down. So
I asked Andy this morning, because of the pandemic that we're in just now. There's quite a few folk wanting a career change. Have you seen an increase or inquiries about folk wanting to maybe learn about how to do forestry, for example?
yeah, so not really from the instructor's point of view, but definitely from the candidate's point of view, there does seem to be an increased interest. One is the job itself, so you get to meet loads of really interesting people, and usually at the sort of the beginning of their career, so you really get to sculpt them and hopefully improve the next generation of both cutters and climbers, so that the next generation will be better than we were, and so on and so on. So the industry keeps improving, so that's the most sort of rewarding. But also you get to be out in this, it's amazing. Even on a bad day, it's still pretty good.
Is there flexibility too with the job? Can you
Yeah,
pick and choose or fit around your time how it suits?
Well, I'm freelance, so I used to work for a college, where it is, in a college environment, obviously you're delivering it sort of to the students, but basically as a freelancer, you pick your jobs.
Usually it's quite a male-dominated world, forestry and instructors, but can anyone obviously learn to become an instructor?
Definitely historically it has been, but there's more and more really good instructors coming through from every background.
Well, Matt, you touched on that you get to travel around Scotland and some beautiful places and work in lovely forests like this, for example. You must get some satisfaction knowing that you're helping teach people to help preserve Scotland's iconic landscapes and habitats.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the skill set they're learning is not just when to choose to fell a tree, but also when to choose not to, and what the protections are. So what people like Nature Scott, they give us incredibly good advice on basically how to preserve our landscapes and how we can work with them. And people like Forestry and Land Scotland and Scottish Forestry. So basically all these groups come together to make sure we preserve our natural landscapes and all the positive elements of having trees, so the positive elements towards climate change and basically capturing carbon and all that kind of thing, so you can be part of that helpful process.
Excellent. Oh, you must sleep well at night.